Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Security threats are everywhere. But with Xfinity XFi, you're notified of threats to your in-home Wi-Fi network, so all your connected devices are protected. That's simple, easy, awesome. Switch to Xfinity today and get a great offer. You'll get fast speeds and the best in-home Wi-Fi experience with Xfinity XFi. Plus, ask about enhanced security for safer browsing and more. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store to switch today. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. TalkNorth.com is powered by Bite Squad. Go to bitesquad.com or download their app. Get food to your door in minutes. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. Talk North gets you your first delivery free. Michael Russo is in San Francisco. San Francisco, right, Michael?
No, San Jose.
San Jose.
I was in San Francisco.
Right. Hard to keep up with Michael on this long road trip. We are going to catch up with Michael, though. This is the Russo-Souhan Show, part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. Thanks to all of our sponsors, including Twill in the Edina Galleria, where I went shopping on Saturday, WizKids.tech in downtown Minneapolis, Delano's Pizza, BiteSquad.com, The Athletic, Fixology Repair, and Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. It's a better listening experience. And if you'd like to advertise the program, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Michael, before we get to wild news, it's a pretty interesting day around the NHL. Joel Quenneville gets fired, and we learn that you should never say anything about your bosses when you're in an Uber.
Yeah, it's just an unbelievable story, and part of me feels really bad for these 7 players of the Ottawa Senators that were secretly recorded while they were in an Uber in Arizona at the end of October. We all get into these Ubers and Lyfts these days, and a lot of these drivers, understandably, have video cameras there to protect themselves. I mean, it's their personal car, and they don't know who's getting in, and so it's I think a form of protection. But this guy absolutely violated the privacy of these Ottawa players. They get in, like a lot of us do, and essentially ripped on the bosses. I mean, the Ottawa Senators are a horrific hockey team, and they got in and do what a lot of players do, and that's, rip on the coaches, rip on the team's play, rip on everything. And this guy recorded it and then actually put it out both on Twitter and YouTube, and it's gone viral since, and it's created another embarrassing situation for the most embarrassing franchise in professional hockey right now, the Ottawa Senators. And again, I feel bad for these guys because there's an expectation of privacy in there, but I think it's a learning lesson to us all. I mean, we all say stuff with the expectation that everything we say is off the record, especially in the privacy of an Uber or sitting at a dining room table or just shooting the breeze. I mean, we all do it, and this guy taped it and put it out there, and it's created an unbelievably awkward situation. If you haven't seen it, I'll be honest, I haven't watched the video because I started watching it and it was so uncomfortable that I didn't even want to hear it. I just read the article and saw what was said. And of course, Matt Duchene was at the forefront of this, proving yet again that he's just, there's a problem there with that guy. This is an interesting thing with Duchene. He basically gets traded out of Colorado. They take off after one. It's created this perception out there that he is kind of a cancer in the room. Then you put him in an Uber with 7 guys, and he's kind of leading the rip job of Marty Raymond, their assistant coach, and he's sitting next to a prospect that has since been sent back to juniors. So it also shows that he's not the greatest influence on young guys. And now he's going to be a free agent this year. And, I got to think that a lot of GMs and coaches are not going to want somebody like this in their room. And so we'll see what this does to his free agent thing, but it's going to create an awkward situation for the Ottawa Senators. And, if you haven't seen the video, I mean, they essentially, Jim, make fun of the way this guy does video instructions during penalty kill, doesn't change anything. So I got to think that today, a home game against the New Jersey Devils, it's going to create an unbelievable awkward situation.
Absolutely. And like you, I think there are two. I mean, my first reaction was, okay, this is pretty funny. And then I started thinking about it, and I reacted the way you did. There are 2 lessons here. Number one is none of us have any privacy anywhere we go anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we really don't. And the other thing is, and this is a lesson you can draw from this without just completely obliterating these players for just having their own thoughts in their own private time. And that is, as sports writers, we know that there are a lot of layers to every situation, every clubhouse situation, every organizational situation. So just, and I think we're lucky on this podcast. We have very savvy fans who get it. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to listen to it. But if you're a sports fan out there and you think every time a player says, acts like everything's perfect in his organization, perfect in his locker room, everybody has perfect relationships with the coaches and their teammates, it's all just a big family, just remember this. Use this as that teaching lesson. It is like a family. It's like all these teams are like families that have family problems and rivalries and regrets and anger issues. I mean, that's the kind of family sports teams are. They're very complex organizations.
Yeah, no doubt. Could you imagine if Brandon put out the open mics of before we go on the air? That'd be embarrassing for all.
I think he does, actually.
But I mean, it's a learning lesson to me. I mean, how many times do we turn off the mics at a live podcast and then you start shooting the breeze with fans and you start saying things and you never know.
Here's the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, and we do that all the time. I mean, yeah, I sit there every night and sit there with writers or broadcasters and you talk openly about players. Somebody had a great tweet today that said the real news would have been a video of the players praising coaches.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, trust me, when I shoot the breeze with players all the time, things are said that you would never, ever want at that player for Bruce Boudreau or somebody to hear. And the coaches do it too. I mean, what do you think the coaches are saying in that coaches room for the Ottawa Senators the other night when they lost the most embarrassing game in maybe the history that I've ever seen? There's 30 seconds left in the game. They're on a penalty kill, the Ottawa Senators, the other night against Tampa. They're up 3-2. All they got to do when they get the puck is clear the puck, the length of the ice, and the game is over. Again, it's a PK. And what do? 3 Senators start selfishly going for an empty net goal. Ryan McDonough strips them. One pass, another pass, boom, Braden Point ties the game, sends it into overtime. Then they lose in overtime 14 seconds in. What do you think the coaches of the Ottawa Senators were saying about those selfish, embarrassing players? And so this stuff happens all the time on privately, and you have this belief that that stuff's never going to be heard by the general public, and then all of a sudden it is, and it changes the complexion those people think of you. But the reality is that we all do it. We all kind of say things that we would never say or write publicly, and unfortunately, in this case, they were sent out. And in terms of Uber. One, this guy needs to be fired. Should never work for them again. My guess is he's going to start driving around with like a Lyft now sign on his front. And then the other thing is I got to think this guy is about to get his life in ruins. I mean, these guys are going to sue the heck out of him because it is. I mean, Uber has already said this was against their terms and conditions, and that these players had the right to expect privacy in an Uber, but it just shows you that it's going to be a learning lesson for all these guys. They've got to be careful.
And it's funny because so much of sports media is people gathering around a player or a coach in a group, and everything's on the record, and everything's kind of the the subject is trying not to say anything. Basically, it's a game. Us trying to get them to say something, them trying not to say anything, and it's all very. And a lot of media outlets are very happy to just take kind of the happy talk quote and take it back to their unit and run it on the air. And beat writers, because I did it and you do it, a lot of beat writing is trying to get people to tell you on the record what they've been telling you off the record for a long time. I mean, we know that this is what they think. We just can't get them to say it out loud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know a lot of times, or they will say it out loud, but there's an expectation that they know that when they're talking to us off the record.
I don't mean out loud.
By the way,
I
Bruce
mean
does the same things. And Bruce does the same stuff. And just think of it, like, to me, it's like, look, again, I said what I said about Matt Duchene, and it's the reality is that, you know, there's going to be a lot of GMs and coaches out there that look at him even on a more negative context, because he's also showing that you know, you don't want him in your room when he's sitting there with a young prospect and acting this way, because it just shows that he's a bad influence. But I will say, think of this logically. You get 7-8 players, even on a team right now that's as on fire as the Minnesota Wild, 7-8 players going to dinner on a night, that you know that there are things there that they're saying about teammates, coaches, beat writers, whatever, that they would never want aired publicly, because they're just, you know, shooting the breeze with their buddies at dinner. And that's just the reality. Just imagine you as a podcast listener right now going out with 7 or 8 of your coworkers. You think that everything that you would say there about your bosses would be something that you would ever say to, you know, in a public setting or to their face? I mean, this is just kind of natural. I hate to say it, but you know,
human nature.
We're all two-faced, and that's just life. But this should be a learning lesson to us all. Is, you know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll just go out with buddies. And, you know, and next thing you know, we're talking about the Wild, and I would say things about players that I would never want taped and put out there. And you know, it creates, obviously, again, a negative context about maybe if somebody ever heard that stuff about me. But the reality is that there's an expectation of privacy there. But it just shows you that in today's day and age, you know, somebody next to you could just hit record and boom, you know, things all of a sudden are pretty embarrassing.
There's a little more meat left on this bone. We want to talk about Quenneville. We want to talk about the Wild actually being a hot team on a very important road trip. Do want to thank Twill in the Edina Galleria, Scott Dayton shop. I went out there with Stacy on Saturday, and she made me buy nice clothes because she likes the way I look in Twill stuff. If they can make me look good, they can make anybody look good. You know, I bought some Stenstrom shirts, bought a Stormwatch hat. We're going to do a live show with the Viking Update show out there sometime next week. And then the Russo-Souhan Show will be visiting Twill here also very soon. So check out Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com, and Twill on Instagram.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop by Twill in the Edina Galleria for the best shopping experience and best clothes you'll find in the Twin Cities.
You know, the other thing, Michael, is, you know, when I was a Twins beat writer, it's funny, I started covering the team, and TK was, Tom Kelly was just beloved in the state. He had won 2 World Series in 5 years, and I started covering them, and I covered them during a bunch of bad seasons with a lot of bad players. And the way some of the young players who would never amount to anything in the game would rip on Tom Kelly and his coaching staff was amazing, and they would never do it on the record. Well, actually, Todd Walker eventually did it on the record a few years later, but they would never do it on the record those first few years. But, man, it really opened my eyes when you'd have, like, a guy fresh out of AAA ripping on Tom Kelly who had won 2 World Series.
Well, wasn't it the Clippers owner that was, like, taped by his girlfriend or something in his house? And it was, like, created this. We all have this expectation of privacy that just shows you there's no privacy anymore. The other night in San Francisco, I went out to dinner with the CEO of The Athletic. I mean, you know, we were at dinner. We were talking about stuff, talking about The Athletic, talking about life, talking about this. If somebody had a tape recorder on that table for the hour and a half, 2 hours that we were sitting together, I'm sure there's a lot of things that we probably said that we wouldn't want out there publicly. But that's just, you know, when you're at dinner, you talk honestly with somebody, and you know, that's just the way life is. And unfortunately, these guys got into an Uber with a stranger that absolutely betrayed their expectation of privacy. And it is a shame, but on another subject, it just shows the underlying major issues that are with that horrible franchise right now. And I cannot even imagine what it must be like to be that assistant coach today, having to run a PK meeting with these guys that just absolutely just torched them. It's going to be an unbelievable situation.
Absolutely. Let's get to Joel Quenneville. Were you surprised?
It's funny. I'll say this. I picked him as my first coach fired in our athletic poll. But you wake up today and they haven't played in a couple of days, and you're a little shocked that he was fired today. And now it'll be interesting what happens. He's not done. I mean, I'll be honest. When Bruce Boudreau is fired from the Minnesota Wild, he's probably done as a coach. He's going to be, right now, I think he's 60, or by the end of his contract, I think he'll be 67. You're probably not hiring another 67-year-old coach to a long-term deal, especially going into potential 2020, work stoppage. Who knows? But Quenneville, the guy's won 3 cups there in Chicago. He's going to get another job. The question is when. Right now, he's owed the majority. He's only, 13 games into the season, so he's owed the majority of his $6 million this year and $6 million next year. So the question is what happens. LA just fired their coach the other day, John Stevens, hired Willie Desjardins as their interim coach, which is interesting. It's kind of like when the LA Kings hired John Torchetti to come in. He wasn't in the organization, brought him in as an interim coach, and then planned to revisit it. That was a lot less in the season in, I think, 2006-07 maybe, or 5-6. But this is for the majority of the season, so he'll have a tryout here. But the reality is they did this to see what other potential coaches will be available. And now Quenneville will be definitely a candidate for that. The other thing here that I have said all along is, and I've said this is one of those things I've said privately at dinners for weeks now, is the day that Joel Quenneville is fired from the Chicago Blackhawks is the morning that Mike Yeo wakes up and has a conniption fit. Because I've just always felt that if they were going to fire Mike Yeo in St. Louis, it would be if Quenneville was available and you can bring him back to that organization where he was many, many years ago as an assistant. Now, the thing that makes this tough is that Quenneville has 2 years left on his deal, if you just consider that this is the first year of 2 years left. So this year and the next. Are you going to let him go to a division rival? So this isn't, again, in professional sports, if you're fired, you're really not fired. You are relieved of your duties if you have term left in your contract. So the St. Louis Blues can't just today call up Joel Quenneville right now and say, you want to come here. They have to ask permission. Does the Blackhawks even give him permission to talk to a team like St. Louis if this is something that would be in the works? And then the other thing is that with that much term left, with the owner of the Blues, I can't imagine that the Blackhawks would let him go to a division rival unless, at a minimum, that the Blues are willing to take on his entire contract, which a lot of times, when a coach is fired, you'll actually negotiate with the other team. All right, we'll pay him this and you pay him this. But if you're Chicago, you're not going to let him go to a division rival unless they're at a minimum paying the whole thing. So I think it's very premature to think that he would go there, but this definitely puts Mike Yeo in a pretty uncomfortable position, I would think.
And are there any signs of hope for Mike Yeo right now?
Well, I mean, there was 2 games ago, and they were coming off 2 games in a row where they had pretty impressive victories. They'd scored 24 goals in the last 5 games, and they clearly took a step back against the Wild. That is as big a butt kicking as I've seen the Wild levy in my career covering them. I don't remember a Wild game off the top of my head where they dominated from the opening puck drop to the end of the game the way the Wild dominated the other day. Now, was it because the Wild were dominant, or was it because the Blues were horrible, or was it a little bit of both where the Wild kind of just sucked the life out of that team and made life awfully difficult on them? Who knows? But that was not a good win the other day. Doug Armstrong, the GM of the Blues, was in the press elevator going down with us the other day, and he looked like he was going to kill somebody. Very upset with just the way that his team played that night. And so, I feel for Mike. Mike thought they were coming out of it. I mean, so they obviously took a step back the other day. They have a chance to get themselves back on track here this week. But the Wild, basically, they really levy some damage on that team because, again, they go there at the end of this 7-game road trip again on Sunday afternoon. And, let's put it this way. If the Wild played as hard that game for Mike Yeo the last time his job was on the line, Mike would probably still be the Wild coach.
Oh man, that's the secret, isn't it? Just getting the guys to play for you and not getting over and say the wrong things. Let's get to some stuff about the Wild, Minnesota Wild, who are actually a really good team so far this year. Let's thank WizKids.tech, WHIZKIDS.tech, Minneapolis company. Very nimble, very responsive, very friendly. Michael Thanert's a great guy and with an excellent staff. And along with all the other things we told you about there, how they can help you help you with your technology as a local company. They also have the ServiceNow Help Desk with Heart. They are very responsive and very easy to deal with. If you are working with them, you will always be able to reach them.
Hello, Minnesota sports fans. This is Michael Thanert, founder and CEO of WizKids. WizKids is a Minneapolis-based managed IT, hosted VoIP, and cloud services provider. Businesses today require fast response times, skilled support staff, clear communication, and technology recommendations that align with their business goals. At WizKids, we do this each and every day with our clients. When you call into our help desk for support or work with one of our higher-level engineers on a complex issue, you'll find our staff personable and ready to roll up their sleeves to help you solve your technology problems. Reach out to WizKids today to find out how we can help your business meet your technology goals. Visit us online at wizkids.tech. That's wizkids.tech. WizKids, make it happen.
So I know we got into it a little bit at our last show at Delano's. By the way, our next live show at Delano's is, I think we decided November 14th at 6 p.m. Is that correct?
Yep, my mom will be there.
Your mom will be there, so please come out and join us at Delano's Pizza November 14th, 6 p.m. Meet Russo's mom. I think Don Mitchell will be there as well. And it's always it's a good time. It's a great place. We can highly recommend Delano's Pizza, both for delivery, but especially going in there and just hanging out, watching all the big screens, everything else. Delano'sPizza.com. So I know we got into this a little bit at our last live show, but why is this Wild team playing so well?
Well, I mean, I will say depth is huge now. I mean, we all always talk about depth and the improved depth of the Wild, and we always scoff at it and maybe roll our eyes. But there you have a game the other night where, Eric Staal obviously had a big night and a couple points and 400th goal. But who are we talking about? We weren't talking about Mikko Koivu or Mikhail Granlund or Zach Parise or Ryan Suter or whatever. We were talking about Eric Fehr and Marcus Foligno and JT Brown and Greg Pateryn and Nick Seeler. And when in our entire lives have we all watched this Wild team played, at least in my tenure covering him since 2005, and we're always talking about the fourth line and the third defense pair. It is pretty cool to see how well they're playing right now. Eric Fehr has been great. Somebody asked me recently on Twitter, I almost fell over, what does Eric Fehr do for this team? I'm like, are you watching? What he's done for the penalty kill in this team, what he's done as a veteran right-handed centerman on that fourth line. He plays his role perfectly. Marcus Foligno is playing absolutely awesome right now. Finally, JT Brown showed up. And where this team gets really good is that their third defense pair, for the most part, they had a tough couple games, especially Pateryn, in Edmonton and Vancouver, but they've been great all season long. It has allowed Ryan Suter to not play his 28, 29, 30 minutes a night, and he is still, by the way, hurt. I mean, this guy, just watching him again walk around after practice yesterday, it's just hard to believe that he's playing at such a high level. So you have Pateryn and Seeler playing like this, and it's changed the outlook of this team. And a lot of people ask me, well, wake me up when the playoffs start and tell me, and how's this team going to be different? And I would say this could potentially be what makes them different. It's a story that I'm thinking of writing for The Athletic in the next couple of weeks. Is all right, if they continue playing well, okay, yeah, whatever, they're playing great, but what makes this year different? And one of the things I would say is that, if they're healthy, they have a lot more depth that you can suddenly roll lines and get contributions. So, The other thing is they are, and we talked about this on the last show where I think I mentioned that I met somebody on a plane that knows an Oilers player, and that Oilers player said how good the Wild are in front of both nets. Watch that St. Louis game. The Wild were so good around the net in the offensive zone and so good around the net in the defensive zone. And just watching it practice yesterday, they are really, really good around the net. And it's all they practice now. It's one area where I'm telling you, Bruce Boudreau has really harped on with his assistant coaches, Bob Woods and Dean Evison, and that's all they practiced yesterday. It was just being hard around the net, both offensively and defensively, and we'll see if they can continue. I mean, we both know, Jim, that this team always finds a way to let you down. If they can come out of this road trip with 3 or 4 more wins, that'd be unbelievable, because this is a very winnable road trip right now. These California teams are playing really poorly. San Jose looked good the other night against Philly, did lose, but they looked better. San Jose is very beatable right now. The LA Kings just fired their coach, and Anaheim's getting severely outshot every game and seems to be losing a lot lately. I mean, these games are winnable, so the Wild needs to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Hey, we do have a couple deals. Again, the next live show is Delano's Pizza. Delano's Pizza, downtown Minneapolis, 118 North 4th Street. They have happy hours in their Minneapolis store all the time. They also have a Woodbury store, which gives them a very large delivery area around the Twin Cities. You can call the Minneapolis location 612-767-9494. You can go online and order online. That's the way I usually do it. I know we've told you about Bite Squad before. We have a deal with Bite Squad, but if you're ordering Delano's, just order directly through Delano's. It's a better way for you. It's better for them as well. If you're ordering something else, use the Bite Squad promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery free. We're also going to be running some specials with Bite Squad during the course of the month, kind of like we did last month, centered around big Wild and Vikings games. So just keep checking back with us and watching on social media for all that stuff. But today, Delano's Pizza, lunch, they open at 11 a.m. They don't close at like 3 a.m. They're there all day, happy hours, lunch specials, lunch buffets. Check it out at delanospizza.com. Tell me about Dumba, the way he's playing, and if this alters the way you view his future.
Well, I mean, I think that he's matured, much defensively the last couple of years. I've written all the stats in my story that was on The Athletic yesterday about just, how much better really statistically he was last year, especially 5-on-5. And he's playing great now. I mean, we all know how good he is offensively. Had a really tough couple of games in Edmonton and Vancouver. And what I wrote about is how Bruce Boudreau didn't say a word to him. He just knew that Dumba would take it upon himself to really get focused for the St. Louis game and have a bounce back game. And for the most part, I thought he and Suter were really good that night. So yeah, I mean, I do think there's a reason why he's gotten paid. There's a reason why the Wild have tried to keep him. Right shot defensemen that could shoot the puck like him are not easy to find in this league, and that was one reason why the Wild went above and beyond a couple years ago going into expansion to make sure they figured out a way to keep him on this roster, even if it meant giving up a prospect and now to get them to not take one of their defensemen. I do think he's got a bright future as long as he continues to mature, and that's always the word you're going to hear with Matt Dumba is mature. On and off the ice. And if he continues to become that type of player, I think that his future is bright.
And when we talk about maturity, it can mean so many different things. Do you think it's the way he run, does he need to run his life a little bit better, or is it just the little things about, being a hockey professional and paying attention to the right things on the ice?
I think it's more that. I mean, look, I think it's both. He's a young kid, like all young kids. When you handle a lot of money and you get to live outside your parents' home for the first time, you have fun. I mean, if I used to say when I covered the Florida Panthers that if I was a 21-year-old hockey star and given millions of dollars and put in South Beach, that hockey probably wouldn't be my biggest thing that I'm focused on. And I think that Dumba probably was learning that early in his career, like a lot of young Wild players have early in their career. And I think it's getting more and more. But, I will say he's a very good kid. I mean, you see all the stuff that he does,
right?
Especially with the ACES program and things like that. I mean, I think he's got a huge heart. But I do think that for a while he was probably having a little too much fun away from the rink. And now that, he's becoming more of a professional and taking upon himself now that he's been earned this big contract to really help lead this team. Bruce has challenged him to be part of the leadership group. And I think he's really taking that as a challenge and trying to get better.
Let's do Twitter questions. This is a good day to catch up on a lot of those. Let's thank Fixology Repair.
And by the way, I will say that that story on Numba on The Athletic is pretty good. That I think that everybody should give a read to. And we've also got a bunch of stuff in the works right now. And if you want to subscribe to The Athletic, we have a special Russo-Souhan Show promo code theathletic.com/I know Russo. Gets you in for $2.99 a month the first year. Highly recommend it. As I mentioned, by the way, you'll love this, Jim. I've spent the last couple of days in San Francisco. I went to dinner, as I mentioned, with the CEO, Alex Mather, the other night, and spent a couple hours at headquarters yesterday. And by the way, I'm really, really pumped about some of the things that they have in the works for the future. It's just going to be some of the things that we're about to announce. To bring this site to the next level and bring more value to an incredible value already is really awesome. But I'm walking around San Francisco. That's an interesting city. I have not, Jim, because there's no hockey team in San Francisco, I have not spent a lot of time there. Have you spent a lot of time in that city?
Well, I have. Only
kind of a freak show.
Oh, it is. And it's a bizarre, fascinating city, and I haven't spent as much time there this decade as I have in previous decades. When I first started in the NFL, I was always out there covering NFL games and NFL playoff games, and had an absolute blast. I covered a lot of baseball out there, regular season and postseason, but now you've gotten to the point now where you have all the tech guys tech people are going in and buying out everything that's livable in San Francisco. So really what you have in San Francisco now is you have ultra rich and homeless and not much in between.
Yeah. That was kind of what I'm saying. First of all, it's kind of a cool city. You do feel the energy there as a tech company. I mean, you're walking around the city and you see, you're looking at the buildings and you see like all these companies that we all know that are kind of headquartered there, which is really awesome. But man, like I'm walking out of Macy's and I'm making a right toward my hotel 2 days ago, and there's just a guy walking down the street butt naked with a briefcase, and nobody seemed to even be noticing. Like it was crazy.
That's called business casual in San Francisco.
Yeah, it really. I mean, that was the thing, is that he didn't even. I don't even think he was homeless. He had a briefcase. Looked like he was going to work, and nobody seemed to be noticed. Like I saw it like I was on candid camera. Then it seems like, I don't know if it's a Marriott Westin thing right now, but it seems like everybody's on strike. Like not at my Marriott, but I passed the Marriott Union Square and I passed the Westin Union Square, St. Francis, and there were like picketers in front. That was pretty interesting. There's dog poop all over the city. I mean, everywhere. I hope dog poop.
Well, I was to say, we can be sure in San Francisco.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just a strange city. But then there's just like you're just like, wow, this place is awesome too. I mean, it's just kind of like the vibe of either end of the spectrum is pretty interesting.
Oh, no question about it. I was covering a Twins A's playoff series, I guess 2006 out there, and I was like rushing. Back then, you needed to make sure you had cash for cabs and for everything else. And I'm standing at an ATM and kind of in a hurry. And I turned around, and the guy who had been standing behind me at the ATM was wearing what's the best way to put it? Buttless chaps.
Yeah.
Just standing there at the ATM with his butt hanging out at San Francisco. Yeah. Great, maybe the greatest restaurants, the greatest views, the greatest architecture, most beautiful vistas, and also the other end of the spectrum, as you sort of put it so kindly.
Yeah, it is. It's just like I'm kind of glad there's no NHL team there, because you can get yourself into some of those restaurants are just ridiculously good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it was pretty. I got to tell you, I was the Athletic headquarters. It's just pretty funny. All these, tech people working their butt off, and I'm just sitting there on the couch, kind of watching everything go in there, and I'm just like, wow, I'm glad I don't have to work in this office. I do not fit in here. Yeah. It's just a bunch of smart people just with headsets on, just working at computers, doing God knows what to keep the site going, make this company awesome. So it's pretty cool.
If you haven't seen it, the sitcom, I think it's HBO, Silicon Valley, is very funny and very on point. You might want to check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Let's get some Twitter questions here. We do want to thank Fixology Repair downtown in the Skyway, also third floor, Mall of America, right by Nordstrom's.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
And of course, Fixology is run by John Hedges, our friend who comes out to the live shows at Delano's. Again, the next show at Delano's Pizza, November 14th, 6 p.m. Please come out and join us. It's a lot of fun. From Adam on Twitter, how shocked were you? Well, I think we've already talked enough about Q. Let's see. Boy, all the questions are about the coaching changes and the prospective coaching changes in the NHL. From Bert Carter, our friend who comes out to the shows, is it true that Suter has banned all Wild players from taking an Uber?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would be again, I would love to be just a fly on the wall at any players gathering throughout the league. And I think that we'd all
they'd be ripping on us too, though.
Oh, no doubt. I can only imagine the stuff.
And we deserve it. From Alec, what's more dumb, a coach getting fired or a GM making a bad trade? I guess his point is, should the coach get fired if it was the general manager who made the mistake?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like Dave Tippett right now is running Seattle. I don't think he wants to coach. He's right. Perfectly fine now saying, you know what, I think I've done that. I've been fired a bunch of my life. Let's now run the show. But you're right. I mean, if Alex's point is that Stan Bowman has made a lot of crummy trades in Chicago, he's probably right. I mean, he's made some bad trades, but a lot of it has been, the reason for their riches is that they had this core of guys like Crawford, Kane, Taves, Keith, for a while Seabrook, for a while Hossa. And so he had to, when they won cups, make sure that he kept the core together. And what it has led is to some very painful trades over the years to try to stay cap compliant. Right. You have a little baby? Is that your dog?
Can you guys hear that? See, I never know with this directional mic if it's seeping in. Is it causing problems?
Yeah, it's better than when you were doing dishes during the podcast.
Yeah, well, I need a solution. I just need a place I can do these shows where my dog won't drive me absolutely crazy. So if the dog is annoying you, I will solve that problem by the time we do another.
It's not. It's just one of those things. I'm like, I knew I heard something.
Yeah. He thinks he needs to talk. He thinks he needs to be a part of every conversation I have. Is my problem.
Yeah.
From Family Dining on Twitter, what surprised you most about this Wild team?
Probably what I was saying about just their depth is a lot more. We kind of poo-pooed it at the beginning of the year that they didn't make any huge monster changes, didn't have any core altering trades, things like that, and we kind of rolled our eyes at the signing of Patterson and the signing of Fair, and that Foligno was going to be better, and so far, again, it's early, but so far they look really good. The other thing is again the Wild have been, if you're a fan, knock on wood, extremely healthy so far. Their only injuries have been Eriksson Ek and Hendricks, both, frankly, guys that can be easily replaced, and it didn't hurt them. And so they've won 7 of 8. 7 of 8, I should say, without Hendricks, by the way. So that should be probably something, and I like Matt a lot. And I'm doing, by the way, a huge athletic story on Matt for Veterans Day that I think that will really touch a lot of people. But the reality is that they won 7 and 8 without him, and I think that Bruce should probably pay attention to that. That I know we all kind of look at JT Brown as somebody that hasn't made a huge impact yet, although he did the other night. But I think that his skating is one reason that helps that fourth line, and I think it should probably make it hard for Matt Hendricks to get in. It wouldn't shock me against slow teams like LA if Matt Hendricks gets in, but against fast teams, I would always play Brown.
Still a number of good Twitter questions to get to. Do want to thank Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin, Hoaglund. It's easy for Michael and I to recommend Tony because he handles my insurance and he handles Michael's insurance, and he's very easy to interact with wherever you happen to live in the metro or in Minnesota.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoagland. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
From Eric Olson, is Coyle showing anything this year? What does he bring when he doesn't show on the score sheet?
Well, I think he's playing much, much better lately. I don't like him on the power play at all. I just wish he would get more of a killer instinct. I mean, those plays in St. Louis the other night, he's getting the puck next to the net. He did have one where he turned around and ripped it and just went wide of the cage, but he's the only guy I know that can stand with the puck next to the goalie and throw it through three guys in the middle, in the high slot. He just needs to get more of a killer instinct. But again, I think he's been, for the most part, the last 2 weeks playing much better hockey. You just wish, and he's getting some key points. I mean, if you look at all his points lately, the assist on the Granlund winner, the other night he had a really good play on that entire shift that led to Nick Seeler's first NHL goal, and he had the primary assist on that. He is playing much better, but look, I mean, we've exhausted the cliche. He is what he is, but Coyle is who he is at this point. I think we could all agree that he's not going to become the perennial 30-goal power forward that we all thought that he could be when he was traded here in 2011.
From Davis Bailey, with this team firing on all cylinders as Anthony LaPanta predicted, that will go to Anthony's head, especially the fourth line and third D pair. Do you see Prosser going to Iowa? Without injuries, will Cunnin spend most of the season down there?
I just, Davis Bailey's question just got me thinking about that Europe trip next summer, that to avoid an Ottawa Senators situation. I think that anytime that Anthony and I get together with all of the fans on that trip, we're going to have to put cell phones in a bucket.
Oh, absolutely. And have people sign waivers.
Yeah. You want to hear Anthony and me unfiltered? Come to the Alps with us next year, by the way. What was the question from David? Will
you think Prosser is going to go to Iowa, and you think Cunnin will stay down there?
Well, I definitely think Cunnin's going to stay down there right now. And in terms of Prosser, I mean, look, they need a seventh D up here, and you need insurance. And he's got to go waivers down there, and he can't constantly take conditioning stints and allow the Wild to just, basically get by putting him on waivers by allowing him to play Iowa. So he could do that. He can't just go down there and not be put on waivers. And I do think that if he's put on waivers, he's taken. So, to me, this is just what it is. I mean, he's just not going to crack the top six without an injury. So that's just going to have to be, he's going to have to accept that this year. There's no doubt about it.
From Pete Springler, most important question of the podcast. Now that Michael's a homeowner, what will he wear when he cuts the grass next summer? Shorts, jeans, or slacks?
I don't have to cut the grass. Part of the deal of the community that I'm moving in is that landscaping and snow removal is taken care of.
That's really disappointing. I mean, we're still going to be able to Photoshop you, but I was going to hire paparazzi to take a picture of you cutting the grass.
Nope.
From Bill, has Patterson shown enough upside to potentially function as a top four right shot defenseman? And would this make Fenton more comfortable trading Spurgeon or Dumba in the right deal?
I think he's in a perfect role right now. I don't think he's somebody that should be getting 25 minutes a night and a second pair potential. Look, they're not trading Dumba. It's just so Spurgeon maybe. Spurgeon's the guy that has 2 years left and is going to be 30 at the end of that deal. Although Spurgeon is not going to get old anytime soon. So, we'll see. I mean, it has to be the right deal. They were in on Nylander. They were talking to Nylander. I do feel like I've gotten the impression that that's kind of dissipated here in the last little bit. But again, we'll see. We'll see what happens in there. But I don't think Pattern is the one that puts them in a position where all of a sudden he could be in a top 4 role.
If the Wild hit the trading deadline near the bottom in the playoff seedings, would Fenton consider renting out Stahl at a good return? Example, 2 high draft picks and a prospect. What if they're out of a playoff spot at the deadline? Boy, the team's playing well and people want to blow up the team.
Yeah, I know. If they're out of a playoff spot, yeah, you consider it. If they're in a playoff spot, I don't think you're in it. I don't think you do it at all. I just that would take the life out of the Wild. If all of a sudden you traded Eric Stahl while they're in a playoff spot or potentially trying to make that next step. He's that important to this team. Just not only on the ice where he's just such a, he's not the goal scorer he once was, but this guy still has a nose for the net. He knows where to go. He is still their goal scorer. And if all of a sudden, he was no longer there, I mean, you take that guy out of the room, it's going to be a devastating thing for a lot of guys. That guy is so popular on this team. I mean, you just see it. I'm staying at their hotel right now, and this is the first time in about 20 seasons, by the way, I haven't stayed at a Marriott property. That's how expensive hotel rooms are right now in San Jose, like $800-$850 a night to stay in San Jose. So I'm staying with the team under the team rate, which is still insane, by the way. But it's the cheapest of the insane rates. And just kind of being around the hotel the last day and a half and just watching again the way that seeing them all walking around this little area that we're in, or it's one of those hotels where you have to take an elevator up to the lobby and then another elevator to your rooms type thing, and just seeing kind of the players hanging out with him. I mean, he's just a loved guy. And I just think that it's a major, major risk to trade him if they're in a playoff spot.
From Adam Nelson, in what areas do you see this team improving or regressing the rest of the season? Any bold predictions? For example, if they finish first in points from D-men and number 1 in penalty kill percentage, do they win the Central?
I still think that Nashville's the team to beat with Winnipeg in the Central. But what can they use? A right shot forward that could score. I still think that put on the right wing. I mean, Nino is still a major concern. The way that he's playing right now, the way that he is not scoring. I was shooting the breeze with him yesterday. In fact, what I was shooting the breeze with him, he saw that I'm going to Switzerland next summer, and so I think if he's still on this team, I'm going to stay an extra couple days and have him kind of show me around for a big story, around his hometown and things like that. So we were talking about that, but then we started talking about, he's like, basically, it's like he made some self-deprecating joke. He's like, hopefully I have a goal by then. And he is really, really frustrated right now. And definitely, I got to think the pressure on him is just unbelievably immense. He just doesn't understand why he goes through these stretches every single season of 12, 13, 14 games without a goal. And it's killing him. And so, he's getting chances, man. I mean, in Edmonton, he had some unbelievable scoring chances. But he just needs to do a better job of getting to the areas of where he could be successful. And I don't think he's around the net nearly enough these days. I just, in training camp, I thought he looked good. He had, a couple of that game in Colorado, he had a ton of scoring chances. He was awesome. And he's just, and he scored a goal that night. And he just needs to, kind of find that needle writer.
From AT, what is your guess of the first Iowa D-man we will see this year, if we do see anybody?
Well, probably a right shot guy. My guess it would be somebody like Ryan Murphy. I mean, somebody that we've seen before. The guy that's been unbelievably disappointing down there right now is Carson Soucy. He's got to figure it out. He had a terrible training camp. I don't know if he thought he had made it, but he hasn't. And he's got to figure it out down there.
From Eric Vigo, have you pitched following Fenton to Russia yet?
No, I have not pitched that. I don't think that he wants to do that. He's in Finland right now for the Karalja Cup, I think it is called. Karjala. Karalia. There we go.
We'll go with that.
And Ashley Kaprizov's going to be playing in 3 games there, at least 3 games there this week. And then next Monday he goes to Toronto for the Hall of Fame, and then the GM's meetings, and I'll be back hopefully by the second period, he said, of the November 13th home game. But no, I did not pitch going to Russia with him.
2 more Twitter questions. Thanks again to Twill in the Edina Galleria. Again, I go shopping there, spend my own money on their clothes all the time. We're going to do a new ad highlighting a lot of their fall stuff here pretty soon. Thanks to WizKids.tech, downtown Minneapolis tech company. Again, nimble, local, friendly, easy to work with. BiteSquad.com, the promo code is Talk North if you want your first delivery free. Our next live show at Delano's Pizza is November 16th. November 14th, I'm dyslexic. I'm numerically dyslexic. November 14th at 6 p.m. with Russo's mom, Dawn Mitchell, and all of our regulars. Thanks to FixologyRepair.com.
Can we just hold on? Can we just make it clear that Russo's mom is not Dawn Mitchell? There was a comma there.
There is a comma. Commas are very important in writing and in speaking. I apologize if I did not imply the comma strongly enough. Thank you for breaking in to my very important message. Fixologyrepair.com, downtown and in the Mall of America, 3rd floor by Nordstrom's. Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent Champlin, HOAGLUND. And Michael, what's your athletic promo code?
Athletic.com/I know Russo for $2.99 a month. And awesome stories this week. I'm writing this really fun Ryan Carter piece on the next day. And as I mentioned, I got so much stuff in the works, but this Matt Hendricks story on Veterans Day, if I write it right, will be really cool.
From Nick Bennett, what is your favorite breakfast food?
Probably an omelet.
Okay, that was a great question. From Irrelevant, does Fenton decide, if Fenton decides against keeping Boudreau, would Quenneville be a good fit, assuming he's not hired by somebody else?
Yeah. I don't think that they're going to pay Boudreau his $3 million the rest of this year, $3 million next year, his consulting money, and pay Joel Quenneville $6 to $8 million a year. Craig Leopold, I can promise you, is not going to do that.
Let's wrap this up with the famous and never disappointing Russo's final thought or final not thought. Yeah, stellar as always.
Actually, I got a final thought. So I'm connecting in Salt Lake City out to San Francisco the other day.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but I'm sitting there. We haven't taken off yet, and there's a guy to the left of me, and I pick up this. I asked the flight attendant for, you know how they give you the bottles of water? I don't know why, but I was super hot on the plane, so I asked for ice. And so she brings me a cup with ice, and I pour the water in, and then I forget it's there, and then boom, knock the entire ice water on the guy to the left of me. It was a mortifying thing to do. And he was really cool about it, but then he made some comment that kind of freaked me out. He goes, "It's too bad it wasn't hot coffee, because then I could just sue you and the airline." And I'm like, okay.
Okay. No more coffee for Russo in first class. See, this is the thing, is that you always act like flying in first class is such a great thing, but it's not such a great thing for everybody else, because then they have to fly with you, and you're a klutz. I mean, I've actually turned down upgrades so I wouldn't have to fly in the same first class cabin as you.
That is true. There was nothing more like that I was more proud of when I worked at the Star Tribune than those times when we were like covering the Wild in the playoffs together, and then I sat down in first class and you walked right by me to coach.
Yeah, that was awesome. And it really speaks to your high character. That's what makes you happy.
Yeah. No. Look, I've put in my dues. I deserve to be up there.
I deserve. He deserves to be in first class, Brandon. He deserves.
The other thing is, I was on this bothers me because normally, like, I'm a really good reporter, can figure stuff out. I was flying from St. Louis to Salt Lake City the other day, and there was like a famous band. I know they were famous, like a band up in first class with me. And I could not figure out who they were. It was like one of those things. I started, Googling what bands were in St. Louis the night before. Then I started, it's Salt Lake City is a hub, so I couldn't figure out like where they were going. I couldn't, I Googled like St. Louis based bands. I just could not figure out who they were. None of them had like a name tag on any of their stuff that they had, so I couldn't just figure it out. But I knew I recognized them. It still is bothering me that I don't know who the heck they were.
That's a pretty good story.
That's my final thought. Yeah,
awesome.
that's my final thought.
Good work.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Look, I've put in my dues. I deserve to be up there.
I deserve. He deserves to be in first class, Brandon.
From the kids to Aunt Sue, keep your whole family connected on all their devices with crowd-pleasing gig speed internet from Xfinity. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Learn more about gig speed internet or other popular plans, now with even more speed. Enjoy faster downloads and a better streaming experience today. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for a great offer. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Security threats are everywhere. But with Xfinity XFi, you're notified of threats to your in-home Wi-Fi network, so all your connected devices are protected. That's simple, easy, awesome. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit today. Restrictions apply.